Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do another putting my books in the bookcase and giving you mini reviews. So I've just moved, so I've got to fill this whole shelf. This is going to be filled with all my read books. Down here I have books that I have read but I'm not going to reread, and then these two shelves are going to be my all-time favourite books that I do reread, and then going up books that I really enjoyed but maybe I'm not going to reread. So I'm going to get straight back into it. So I have these ones here that I showed in my previous videos. These are ones that I'm probably going to sell on my Etsy that I enjoyed but I don't want to reread them again. So we have The Convenience Store Woman. Absolutely adored this. It's about a woman who works in a supermarket and all her family say she should start her life and get a proper job, but you find out why she likes working in the supermarkets because she likes order in her life, and it's a lot deeper than that. It's a fantastic book. I cannot recommend it enough. So I'm going to put it there because I probably will read that at some point. I have The Burning by Laura Bates. This is a YA and it's all to do with revenge porn, which is normally when someone sends a picture of themselves to someone and then someone spreads that picture around. So this is about a girl and something has happened to her at her old school. They don't immediately tell you, and then she moves to a new area to start a new life away from what happened at her old school, and where she's now living she learns about a witch who used to live there, and it's about how it's similar, this kind of, you know, people spreading rumours about you and witches, what happened back there when people say she's a witch, no she's a witch. Oh, so good. It will make you cry. It's such a fantastic book. I really thought it was so good. So I'm going to put it up there. I have Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. This is about a woman goes for a job but there's a misunderstanding, and then she ends up working with this very glamorous woman called LaFlosse, and LaFlosse has this very chaotic life where she has loads of different men and she's trying to juggle them all, and so Miss Pettigrew kind of puts her life in order and Miss Pettigrew lives for a day because it's all exciting and think 1920s jazz. That's what I'm going to say about it. It's also set in the time for the day, so it's just one day, but it's got really nice pictures in it as well. But the chapters are time stamped, so it takes you through the full day and everything that happens to Miss Pettigrew. And Miss Pettigrew has lived a very normal life. She's been of service to other people, but she's never been of service to herself in any kind of way. She's never had love or anything. So for this day, she's getting to live out a fantasy. Such a heartwarming book. Absolutely adore it. I probably will reread that. So I'll pop that up there. I have The Awakening by Kate Chopin. I have reviews of all these books on my channel as well, by the way. I did a whole review on this. Really enjoyed this. I don't really know how to summarise it. The best way I could describe it is a woman who's kind of smothered in her own life. But read it. It's a great book. Put that one up there. I then have Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Great little ghost story. I read it for my book club. I enjoyed it. Look at this creepy little cover. Also, if you go on my book review of Turn of the Screw, loads of people have loads of different ideas about what it's about and what it really means. So if you're interested in that, then check that out. Put that there. This is fantastic. This is Ruth Rendell Heartstones, and it is a novella, and it is so good. I was not ready for how good this novella is. So it's about a girl who she loves her dad, and then her dad gets a new woman in his life, and this woman becomes the girl's stepmother, and the girl is obsessed with death, and then all of a sudden her stepmother dies in an accident, and it's an accident where they're all there, so you're kind of thinking, has the girl murdered the stepmom? What happened there? Was it an accident? Was it not? Fantastically written. I was not ready for how good this book was going to be, but this is such a great book. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to push it on people when they come around and be like, have you read this? Take it home, because that actually was so good. So put that there. I then have Gentlemen Prefer Blondes by Anita Lewes. This was originally something that was in, I believe, Harper's Bazaar, which is a magazine, and Anita wrote a little column about this made-up character who she is a gold digger, and about her and her friend, and it was just a made up funny little comedy thing, and then she got asked to put it into a book, and so she did, and then she's also done another book, and then it was later turned into a film with Marilyn Monroe. This is just fantastic. This is the diary of the gold digger, and she's saying she's met this man and she's in love, but really, you know, she's not in love, she's after his money. And then the next page is like, I've met someone else, I think I'm in love. And it's just all these really wealthy men, and it's a really funny comedy book. I have George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's about a load of animals decide to put themselves in a government in the farm, and it's about how government doesn't work and becomes easily corrupted. Fantastic. The Pumpkin Eater by Penelope Mortimer. So good. Fantastic film this was turned into as well. And this is about a woman who she has loads of kids, and then her husband's building some kind of castle, some kind of house for them to live in. But it's not really about that. It's more about the woman and her psyche, and it's just fantastic. I loved it. I have Lord of the Flies by William Golding. It's about a load of boys become stranded on an island, and then they try and build a society. Again, kind of a bit Animal Farmy. I quite enjoyed this. I found it annoying when they were like, I've got the conch, Piggy's got the conch. I found it a little bit grating, this book, but I did overall enjoy it. I think it was very clever, a lot of great symbolism within it. It just became a little bit kind of shrill for me. I think because I was just reading it and they were all just bickering all the time, which is kind of the point of it. I then have Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I have The Bears of Hemlock Mountain by Alyssa Denglish. This is about a boy who has to cross a mountain, and he has to cross the mountain to get to a family member, I think, but there are bears on the mountain, and it is such a great book. It's so good. It's one of those books that again caught me very much off guard, but it's a really fantastic old story. Really enjoyed that. I then have Often I Am Happy. This book, I mean, it is really good, and it's such a good juicy story. So it's about a woman called Eleanor, and she went on holiday with her and her husband, and then her friend Anna and Anna's husband. They all go on holiday together, and then Anna and Eleanor's husband die in a skiing accident, and then after their death, Eleanor and Anna's husband are left, and they find out that Anna and Eleanor's husband, who have died in the skiing accident, were actually having an affair together. And then all of a sudden Eleanor ends up with Anna's husband. It sounds very complicated, but it's not, and it's fantastically written. Absolutely adored this book. So now I think here is my pile of favourite books. So let's pick up some of them. We've got The Vegetarian by Han Can. I read this again for the book club I run on the channel. Absolutely fantastic. It's about a woman who decides to go vegetarian, but it's really not about that at all. And it was just a fantastic book. It's about her trying to get control in her life because she doesn't have control, and fantastic. And it's also told from different people in her life's point of view throughout the book. I then have Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. This is a retelling of Jane Eyre, but it's a very different retelling of Jane Eyre, but I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I did a full review on it. Put that up there. We then have Susan Hill, The Woman in Black. It's about a man who has to sort out a woman's affairs, and he goes to her house. The woman has died. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Then let's get to more of my favourites. We got Love Letters to the Dead. This is so good. This is about a girl who, her sister has just died, and she gets a school project that she has to write to people who are dead, or I think she comes up with this idea of writing letters to people who have died because her sister May has just died. So this is really like the girl's diary, and she's writing to people like Kurt Cobain, people who have died tragically and young because her sister has just died tragically and young. And you learn about the people, the celebrities who she's writing to, but then also what happened to her sister, and it is just such a good book. What have I got in here? Oh, loads of notes. It was just so heartbreaking, but really, really fantastically written. I love that book. I might reread that. So I've got Suicide Blonde by Darcy Steinkick. This is about a woman who, difficult to explain the plot of this because there's so many different things going on, but it's really about, she's at a crossroads in her life. She's trying to keep her boyfriend. She then gets a job looking after this woman who's a recluse, and it's about her trying to keep her boyfriend. Her life's kind of going out of control, but she's pulling it back into control. And then it's about the woman's daughter as well. Difficult book to summarise, really, to be honest with you, but I did absolutely adore it. I might reread it and do a review on the channel with that one, because it was really good. This is one of my all-time favourite books, Girl Interrupted by Susan Cason. Susan herself spent time in a psychiatric hospital, and she was inspired to write this story, which is about a woman who spends time in a psychiatric hospital. Fantastic book. I haven't seen the film. It was adapted into a film. Is the film worth seeing? Is it good? Is it not? Let me know. Then have Evening Primrose, which again, one of my favourite books. It's about a woman who has really bad period pains, but then it's about much more than that. Read it. I don't want to give anything away from it, but one of my all-time favourite books. I might choose some of these books that are my favourites. I might choose to reread for my book club, because I just think they're such good books. So here, back into the pile of favourites, we have The God File. This is about a man who goes to prison for a crime that he does not commit, and this is his diary. And he's writing a file about, does God exist while he's in prison, just try and pass the time. And then we also find out what the crime was and how he didn't commit it, what actually happened, and does God exist. Really just like heartbreaking book, but I thought it was a good book. Speak No Evil is about a boy who is from Nigeria. His family are Nigerian, and he lives in America, and he is gay, and he tries to come out to his family, and then his dad decides that he's going to take him back to Nigeria for some form of conversion therapy. Fantastically written book, very good book. Then have An African Eulogy by Ben Ocry. This is a poetry collection, fantastic poetry collection. Love anything Ben Ocry has ever done. And then here I have some Roald Dahl books. I have Sleepy Hollow, or I have some more favourites. Here I have Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, which is the play that My Fair Lady the musical was based on. Really fantastic. So if you like the play My Fair Lady, then you'll like that. So let's put some of these up here. There we go. I might put all the hardbacks together. What do you think? Hardbacks together, maybe? Not sure. But Pygmalion, fantastic. A Doll's House, another play, fantastic. This book, I think I read this year. This is Heart Song, and it's about a girl who, she's a mute, and she lives in an orphanage, and a man comes and plays music, and that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to ruin it. The back kind of ruins it, but it's got these beautiful illustrations. Really, this will make you cry. It's a stunning book. So here's what the shelf is looking like so far. I've got paperbacks here I've organised, and then I've put my hardbacks over this side. And I am just cleaning this shelf, because this is where I'm going to put my favourite classic books. So I'm just giving it a little clean, because once my books are on here, they may never be moved again. Okay, so this shelf is clean. I just gave it a quick dust. So I'm going to look for some more favourite books. I have right on top The Diary of Frida Kahlo. This is Frida Kahlo's actual diary that they put together, her journals. So I'll show you some of it. She never intended for this to be published. So it's just her work. So she has it written here in Spanish, and then the translations page by page are in the back. So they'll have a copy of the page and then what she actually wrote down in it. I have tabbed a bit. So let's see what I tabbed. I loved this book. I thought it was so good. Oh, and I put the translation here. So here is, take this off so you can see. So here's the picture. And it translates to, are you leaving? No. Broken wings. And I feel like at this point she just felt very broken in her life. Fantastic book. Absolutely adore that. So I'm going to put that here. Let's move these paperbacks. Put that there. Then let's look for some classics for my classics shelf. I want to put nice hardbacks. Oh, I got my Frankenstein collection here. This isn't Frankenstein. This is Matilda and Other Short Stories by Mary Shelley. Matilda is a great short story. I haven't read the others. This is Frankenstein edition that I actually got as a present. It's from the Barnes and Noble one. And then here is my edition, well-loved edition, much read edition of Frankenstein. So I'll just show you a few of these. Oh wow, I've got so many. I love loads of moments in the book, as you can see, but I really think this is a good portrayal. If you haven't read the book, this is how the whole book is. It's so beautifully written. I found a fire which had been left by some wandering beggars, and was overcome with delight at the warmth I experienced from it. In my joy I thrust my hand into the live embers, but quickly drew it out again with a cry of pain. How strange, I thought, that the same cause should produce such opposite effects, because it's going to the fire and it's giving him warmth, and then when he touches it, it burns him. There's all these kind of weird life things within it, where they're kind of questions upon life. Fantastic. It's my favourite book, Frankenstein, as you know. Absolutely adore it. So I'm going to pride and place. I'm going to put it, the first book on this shelf will be Frankenstein. I'll put that one with it. And then I'll put Matilda as well, because I want to keep my Mary Shelley stuff together. See what other classics. Do I have any nice, got some nice editions of classics there. Just having a bit of a rummage. Let's have a, oh dear. Louise M. Alcott, who famously wrote Little Women, also wrote this book, which is Under the Lilacs, and it's about a boy who is part of the circus, but he escapes the circus because he's being treated terribly there, and then he goes to this little town, and these two little girls find him, and he's homeless, and then their mother takes him in, and it is such a gorgeous story. Little Women. This is one of the first nice edition books I ever got, and I got it from an antique shop. When I read Little Women, I didn't read it in this edition. I've never read this edition. I had a big red edition. It had gold on it like this, and some of the words weren't in it fully, which was really irritating. So the edition wasn't printed properly, and so I didn't really like Little Women, but I do think, was it maybe the edition? Or we got The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, one of my favourite all-time books. Put that there. We then have my Jane Austen, Northanger Abbey and Sense and Sensibility. That can go there. We then have Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, which I really enjoyed this. Oh, I've tabbed loads in this as well. Loads of moments. I won't read them all out to you. I'll look through them now, and I'll choose my favourite bit and I'll read it. I haven't looked through it because this bit I love so much. I'm just going to read this bit. So this is about first love, and it's about when you're young and you first fall in love. I am glad it cannot happen twice. The fever of first love, for it is a fever and a burden too. Whatever the poets may say, they are not brave. The days when we are 21, they are full of little cowardices, little fears without foundation, and one is so easily bruised, so swiftly wounded, one falls to the first barbed word. And that's it. I've done it there, but that is the thing. Love it, love it. And then it's talking about how when you get older, you don't care about what people think as much. You grow a thicker skin. I'm going to read this bit, then I'm going to stop because we could be here all day. I could read all the different passages. But Miss Danvers is kind of the villain of the story, but this bit I think shows her in a very human light, and I like this bit because what happens is Miss Danvers, a housekeeper, the woman who she loved, who was the woman of the house, she dies, and then the man remarries, and she makes the woman he remarries makes her life hell. But it's because she loved the original woman. So here she's saying this is kind of why she's making the girl's life hell. It's because she wishes the other woman was there. And she says, all the while, my Mr. Winter, my lady with her smile and her lovely face and brave ways, the real Mr. Winter, lying dead and cold and forgotten in the church crypt. If he suffers, then he deserves to suffer, marrying a young girl like you, not 10 months afterwards. Well, he's paying for it, isn't he? I've seen his face, I've seen his eyes. And then she goes on about, he doesn't really love you. He loved the real Mr. Winter, the original, the first wife. He loved her more because Miss Danvers loved her. And so you get a really kind of I think, a really emotional side of Miss Danvers. Here we have, oh, here's some nice additions. So we got Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Really enjoyed this. Let me see what I've tabbed. Do you have my little cat tab? Read you this bit. I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will, which I will now exert to leave you. Such like a sass line. But I really liked Jane Eyre there. Let's have a look. Oh, E.M. Forster, one of my all-time favourite authors. I've read 3 of his books. I've read A Passage to India, loved it. Where Angels Fear to Tread, adored it. A Room with a View, one of my all-time favourite books. Absolutely cannot recommend E.M. Forster enough. Loved him. Let's see, any other hardback classics? Oh, I think here. Oh yeah. So we've got, this is the story of Snow White, the original story, but with new artwork in it, as you can see there. I found the story really repetitive and really quite boring, but I love the art in this edition. Let's put that there. And then we have 3 here to get into. So we have Rudyard Kipling, Just So Stories. It's a series of short stories about how animals came to be. So there's one like Why the Camel Got His Hump and different stuff. Absolutely love this. Thought it was so good. Then have The Diary of a Nobody, which is about a man's life, but he's kind of snobby, and it's about his day-to-day life. It's satirical. It wasn't meant to be a book, so it was little passages. Like Anita Lou's Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, it was written in a magazine, little bits each week. That's what this was. So as a book, it becomes a bit repetitive, but I did think overall it was good. I have Well-Read Women. This is portraits of fiction's most beloved heroines, and it is artwork of a female character, from a book, and then something that goes along with them. Oh my god! Oh my god! I was just talking about Anita Lou's Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and then I just opened this book and look at what page I've put it on. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes by Anita Lou's. Wow, weird was that? That was creepy. That I didn't even know that she was in this book. That was so weird. Let's read this one then. It is quite an easy thing to pretend not to see one gentleman, but it is quite a hard thing to pretend not to see 2 gentlemen. That's so weird that I opened it on that page. You've got loads of different characters from fiction. That's so weird that I opened it there. Oh, I don't know where to put this. Look how big it is. I think because it's too big, it'll have to go down here. So, let's see. What else have we got? We've got a load of classics here. We have The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I really enjoyed that. We have Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, one of my favourite books. Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think you can tell. Whenever I've got loads of tabs, then you know that I have really enjoyed it. So I'm going to shuffle these up a little bit. So got to shuffle you. And then we'll have all the Black Spine classics together. Any other Black Spines? No. Okay, so we'll put them in like that. I can see a classic here. Oh, God. The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. That's really about Parisian architecture, but I thought when the story kicked in, the story was really interested. And if interesting was really interesting, but if you are interested, there we go, on Parisian architecture, then it's definitely a book that you should check out. Any more pretty editions I am looking for? And I have a load of books here as well stacked up. So I'm just seeing if there's any more kind of hardback editions. Okay, let's get into some of my faves. I have Jazz by Toni Morrison. Absolutely adore it. It's about a woman who her husband kills his mistress, but it's really about the woman, how she's kind of losing her mind throughout the story. So good. And then we have Toni Morrison, The Bluest Eye, and it's about a little girl who wishes she has blue eyes, but it's really about her family situation and then two other girls kind of narrating on what's happening to the girl, and it's so good. So I'm going to put them on this shelf for now. I then have Josephine's Heart's Damage. I talk about this book so much. I absolutely adore this book. Cannot recommend you read that book enough. It's so good. I then have another favourite, which is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and it's about a man who I believe is coming out as gay, but then it's really about his mother's trauma from the Vietnamese War. I have another Jane Austen Persuasion. So I'll pop that one in there. Maybe put it with them and then move her up. A little bit of reshuffling going on here. Okay. And let's get into this bag. Let's see what we've got. This is lesbian short stories. I thought this was a really great short story collection. We have Jacqueline Wilson's Candy Floss. Thought that was a really good book. It's about a girl who her dad owns a chip van and she spends half her time with her mum, half her time with her dad, but her dad is really financially struggling, and it's about the impact of that on her. We then, I got all my Worst Witch books, the whole series. I like the Worst Witch series. So, where should I put you? Put them up on this shelf maybe. There we go. And got some graphic novels in there. I have Angela Carter's The Bloody Chamber, which is a short story collection, really great. The Collector, which is about a man who he kidnaps a woman who he's obsessed with, and it's about their conversations. So he holds her in a house and it's about their interactions with each other. I thought it was a really good book. Let's put them over there. These two, probably not going to reread. So let's pop them in there. And then, I can see horror. Got some other bits and bobs in there. What's this? Oh, Slammed by Colleen Hoover. Hate that book. Did not think that was a good book. I never get in books when the romance is abusive, and that's what Slammed is. He's really horrible to her, the boy, really vicious to her. There's a bit where he puts her in the shower and he turns on the water so she's soaked, and he's just really kind of sadistic and just really vicious to her throughout the whole thing. But it's supposed to be romantic, and I really don't understand how that is romantic. I don't get it. So we got Boundaries by Aidan Shaw. It's about he's living with his girlfriend, but then there's another man in the story who's in love with him, and then he starts getting these abusive packages, and you have to work out in the story who's doing it. Is his girlfriend doing it, or is this man who's interested in him doing it to him? Who's doing it? This is Elizabeth Strout, My Name is Lucy Barton. Loved this book. This is about a woman wakes up in her hospital bed and her mother is there next to her, and it really goes into her difficult relationship with her mother. I really love the cover as well. I think it's a really cute cover. But Boundaries is really good. I feel like I haven't summarised it enough because I don't want to give too much away, but Boundaries is a really good book. It's actually out of print, so if you get a copy, snatch it up because it is really good. We then have two Stephen King. Stephen King Carrie, Stephen King Misery. I enjoyed both of these, but I'm not a huge Stephen King fan, so I'll put them here because I might want to reread them one day. Here I have some more favourites. William Sutcliffe, Are You Experienced? Is about an English boy goes to India on a gap year, and it's so funny, and it's about just like the stupid thing English people think when they go to India and they don't properly research where they're going, and he's going because a girl who he really likes is going, so he's just going to go along with her, and he hasn't researched anything to do with India or where he's going or anything, and it's just a really great book. Warhorse, fantastic book. I'm sure everyone's read that. Amy Bender, Willful Creatures. This is all magical realism. Really enjoyed this. Oh, got a little card someone sent me. I got The Little Prince, really great book. Again, I feel like everyone's already read that. Melissa Banks, The Worst Thing a Suburban Girl Could Imagine, and it's a little novella. So these are all favourites. So I'm going to have a reshuffle. I think I'm going to do what I did on this shelf. Paperbacks one side, hardbacks one side. So I'm going to sort that out on this shelf. I have, oh, these books are great. These are, oh, I should have another one. I'm missing one. This is Madame Pamplemoose. They're children's books. And it's about this girl and then this eccentric woman called Madame Pamplemoose in Paris who has her own shop with amazing food in it. And they're just gorgeous books. There is another one though. Can't find it. But there is another one as well. You don't have to read it in the series. You can read it in any order. So these are Faves. I've put it so it's kind of going around like that. This is my Arthur Miller collection that I have read. A View from a Bridge I've read as well, but I haven't got an edition of it. So we have Arthur Miller, Broken Glass. It's about a woman who she's reading stuff about the Nazis smashing up people's shops, and all of a sudden she can't use her legs. And there's no medical reason why she can't use her legs, but it's to do with what she's reading about. Absolutely fantastic, and her relationship with her husband. Such a good play. I have Arthur Miller, Death of a Salesman. Again, absolutely amazing. Arthur Miller, The Crucible, which is about the Salem witch trials. And then this one, it says A View from a Bridge, but someone has ripped, like an animal, someone has ripped A View from a Bridge out of the book. So there we go, A View from a Bridge. Oh, okay, cool. Where is it? And they go straight to All My Sons because someone, let me show you this, has ripped it clean out. I got it from a bookshop. I thought it was both of them, but it was only All My Sons, but I thought it was great as well, All My Sons. So let's put them here as well. Oh, Tracy Chevalier, my fave. Let's get all my Tracys out. How many Tracys have I got? Oh, I've got loads. Got a stash of Tracy Chevalier here. Okay. Tracy Chevalier, if you don't know, writes historical fiction. She's most famous for Girl with the Pearl Earring, and it's the reimagining of the girl that's in this story. So it's imagining that she was the housekeeper of the painters, and just a reimagining of her life. Love it. I love the character. Great. I think this is amazing, this book. Another Tracy Chevalier is the Virgin Blue. This is about a woman who, she's kind of obsessed with the Virgin Mary, and then it's about her really sad marriage and her life. Fantastic one. We then have The Lady and the Unicorn. This is the latest one I have read from Tracy Chevalier. I buy them from charity shops, so this isn't in publisher order or anything like that. And this is about a man gets commissioned to do these massive tapestries, and it's about his relationship with someone who's making the tapestries. So he's designed the tapestries, and then a family are actually making the tapestries, and it's about that. This is Tracy Chevalier, Remarkable Creatures. It's about Mary Anning and Elizabeth Phillipott, which were two real life people. Mary Anning collected fossils, and she had a real eye for fossils, and then Elizabeth collected fossils, so it's about their friendship. And then we have Tracy Chevalier, Falling Angels. It's about two girls who are from different families, and it's really about their friendship. So these two girls form this friendship, but their families are very different. And it says here it's January 1901, the day after Queen Victoria's death. The two girls meet at a cemetery and they become friends, and it's about how different their families are, and they represent the different people at the time. So one of them's like very kind of modern, and the other family aren't. They want to go back to old traditional values. Really fantastic book. So I have 5 books that I have read from Tracy Chevalier. Highly recommend them all. She's a fantastic author. Really interesting books, really beautifully written. Oh, it's filling up now. The shelf is filling up nicely now. Let's see, I've got some Jodi Picoult, which I don't read my Jodi Picouts, but I'll get them out anyway. I'll give you a look. I've got 4 of, oh no, that isn't Jodi Picoult. This is Agatha Christie's Secret Notebooks by John Curran, and this is exactly what it is. It's just Agatha Christie's notebooks. So they have them there, and then what she's written on them. And then John is talking about the different novels to what the notes go to. Really interesting book for any Agatha Christie fans. Put that in there. Oh, I haven't got my Agatha Christie books out yet. Oh, I wonder where they are. Then my Jodie Picoult, I'll end the video on my Jodie Picoults. So I really like Jodie Picoult. I think her books, I find them really easy to read. They're really interesting stories and they're all about social dilemmas. So this one is Lone Wolf. It's about a man and a woman, and their dad goes into intensive care, and the boy wants to turn off the machine and the daughter wants to keep the machine on, and their dad was a bit of a lone wolf, a bit of a recluse, and didn't get along with the son. So it's about, are they going to turn the machine off or not, and about the man and his son, why they have such a difficult relationship. We then have Jodie Picoult, The 10th Circle. This is about a girl who, she says she's been raped by her boyfriend, and her dad is a comic book artist. So at the beginning of each chapter he does a comic book like this, and it's him rescuing his daughter from the circles of hell. So that's why it's called The 10th Circle. So he is going through hell to rescue his daughter, and it's about him, and it's about, was she attacked, was she not, what happened that night. Really fascinating book. We then have Change of Heart. Your daughter needs a new heart. The only match comes from a murderer. What do you do? And the murderer killed the woman's husband. And the murderer is on death row. And he says, your child needs a heart, which she does. But it's not really about that. It's about her visiting the murderer in prison and her thinking about, can someone redeem themselves after they've done something? They're all about bigger questions than the plot themselves. This is really about, can you forgive someone after they do a terrible crime? This is about what is the truth, and trying to find what is the truth within it, and what version of the girl is the right version to who she is now. And this is about this is a bigger question about life support. Should you keep people on life support? I'd say The 10th Circle is probably my favourite, I think the most interesting, but I did enjoy all three of these. So I'm not going to reread them. I don't need to reread them in any kind of way, but I do enjoy them. So let's pop them up on a shelf. Let's pop them up on a high shelf, because I'm not gonna reread you. So here I have my circle round shelf that's looking really good. I'm going to end it here, and then obviously I've got loads more books to unpack, so it'll carry on, but I think my shelf is looking really good. So I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you again soon for another video.